You played that younger brother, that almost like annoying.
Bit of a wise ass.
Yeah, wise ass. Yeah. And then with how Damon was playing his character, Dudley Do-Right, it was a fun movie. It was great.
When I leave here, I'm calling Matt, dude, and I'm gonna be like, bro, you're Dudley Do-Right.
Dudley Do-Right.
Dude, Jules says you're Dudley.
Welcome to Games with Names. I'm Julian Edelman. They're Jack and Kyler, and we are on a mission to find the greatest game of all time. On today's episode, we are covering the Arod versus Varitek, Yankees versus Red Sox from July 2004 with actor, writer, director, and Oscar winner and Boston legend, Casey Affleck.
Some of these guys, they're probably nice guys. I don't know Posada. He's probably a lovely dude. Yeah. But when I see his face, I just think like, hey man, I hate you.
We get into talking his new movie, The Instigators, on Apple TV Plus. Movie shot in Boston.
The first time I went back to work in Boston, they love you, they're great. And then on day 2, they're like, get off my fucking street, bro, with the lights and the noise. And
we also talk about what it's like working with Rob Gronkowski on a film set.
Gronk's wingspan is like 9 feet. I had to beat him in ping pong though on the set.
Did you beat him?
Yeah.
Are you good at ping pong?
Yeah.
Then we wrap it up by the ranking of the least hated New York athletes. It's kind of a bashing of a New York legendary team.
Got to end with a little something sweet.
Strahan's
up there.
Fox guy.
Strahan is a fucking lovable New York.
It's hard to hate Strahan.
Dude, he's on Good Morning America. You got to stick around to the very end. It's a fun episode. Let's go.
Let's go.
Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. July 24th, 2004. Fenway Park, Boston, Massachusetts.
I gotta give it that kind of.
You can give it whatever you want. You can give it whatever you want.
That's the reading? Damn, that was strong. A band of idiots versus the evil empire.
Scruffy beards versus frosted tips. A century of bad blood is finally boiling over. This is Varitek versus Arod. Yeah.
That photo, bro.
Hey man, you got the. It looks like you got the. You got gas over here. You got a little two-seamer right there. Welcome to Games with Names, Casey. I appreciate you coming, and we are talking about the Arod versus Varitek, Red Sox versus Yankees, July 24th, 2004 game. Why'd you pick this game?
Well, look, I was at the game. This is
mid-season.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is the mid-season fight.
Oh, shoot.
Which had a lot of implications going into this season. It was like a really turning point game for the Red Sox.
Right. Okay. I was thinking a lot about the game, the last game that they lost, that sort of ended the curse. Yeah. You know, game 3, then into game 4 when they first won. The game 4 was the one that I thought we were going to be talking about.
We did that one with David Ortiz too.
Let's talk about it. We got to talk about it.
Yeah, we can talk about all of it.
I see. This game, it's been a minute. So I can't remember. I remember these beefs, and what a great year, man. But into detail on this game.
We'll get into the details, and it'll bring up some
shit.
shit.
We've got all.
We got it all.
Great.
Yeah.
But this, like, when you picked this game, or at least that's what I thought you picked. That's what they told me you picked. We started doing research. I'm like, this dude's a real fan, because he didn't pick that game that we're talking about in game 3. You picked a game that kind of like, this was the spark for that to happen. Was the whole, the year before where they lose in the ALCS too.
Yep, 7 games.
Don Zimmer gets tossed.
Zimmer gets tossed. There was a lot of beef going on. They bring in Arod. We lost Arod, or the Red Sox lost the bid to getting Arod, and the whole captain fighting fucking Arod.
Can you imagine that bizarre world? Arod in a Red Sox jersey? Just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it doesn't seem right now.
No,
it didn't seem right. I wonder at the time, would he have been happier there? Because he didn't like being moved to third. Right?
I know.
They like being next to G, or it didn't sit well with him at first.
That's a great point. Yeah, I wonder.
He would have been the big fish in the little pond here, Bubs.
Right.
In Boston. You know, when you go out there, there's a certain way at being a Yankee.
Yeah.
That you have to swallow the ego because Jeter ain't going nowhere, you know. And like there was already you had Jeter, you had Mario, so you're already. It's kind of like when I came to the Patriots, you had Tom, you had Randy Moss, you had Wes Welker. By no means was I even like in that category, but like, where are you gonna? Who comes in to change that?
Yeah,
you know.
But you got there. And that's a big thing because you join a team. You have to find your way into the team.
Yeah.
You know, showing up sometimes being the big dog is disruptive.
Yeah.
The whole team then has to adjust to you. That's harder to do than you finding your way into the system, which is, you know well, and you did. And Arod, I mean, the New York Yankees have a system, are known for like a culture, probably more than any other team.
Yeah.
You say, and that goes back to the 70s when being a professional baseball player, you weren't stars. You didn't make a ton of money. This is early before they collectively bargain and they made a lot of money and became big stars. It wasn't like that. A lot of those guys were working in the off season as like selling used cars. They had jobs in the summer and they were like on the Yankees. And then when dude came in, bought the Yankees, he changed the whole culture. And the first thing he said was, he was like, look, to all the other team owners, he was like, let's let them bargain collectively. Let's let them, they make more money, they become stars. TV, the value of the broadcast becomes much greater. We all are going to make more money. All ships are going to rise with that tide. So he sort of opened the door to that. And it started to happen. But then he told everyone on the team, shave your face. You put on a suit and tie when you travel. Stuff that like in the 70s was unheard of. Because those dudes were like, they looked like me, you know what I mean? They were going out and partying at night. There's famous stories of them doing drugs during the game. I mean, it was
What's that one picture, Doc?
Yeah.
Doc, you heard that where he's on LSD?
Yeah.
Dude, they've had so many. Have you seen that video?
Incredible.
It's fucking, that should be a movie.
It should be. I mean, him telling the story of it. He was like at home with his girlfriend, wasn't even going to the park.
I think he had like 2 girlfriends at that time. He was in an orgy or something in LA.
Nice.
And they were like, bro, get to the field. Yeah. You're pitching. Amazing.
Now, what's life looking like now?
Life's pretty good, man. I was sitting in my son's room the other day, and I was like, he's 16, and he was like doing his homework or something, and I was like, man, life's pretty good, isn't it? I don't know why. I don't have like those kind of conversations all the time with your kids, you know, but I just occurred to me. I was like, life feels really good. And he was like, yeah, life's good, Dad. It was a nice moment. Yeah. And that's how I've been feeling. It's like, you know, there's always stuff you're dealing with, and this industry is going through a lot of changes, and I'm middle-aged and going through changes and stuff. But the last 10 years has been hard, you know, for me, honestly. And suddenly I was like, I woke up one day and I was like, man, this life's pretty good. Or either that or I just appreciate it more, you know?
Yeah.
But things are feeling good. I got this movie coming out that we got to do back in Boston with Matt Damon and Jack Harlow and a bunch of people. And
The Instigators.
Instigators, yeah.
Yeah, we actually got a screen copy. We watched it.
Oh, you did?
It was fucking fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It was epic. Oh, love
we watched it a couple of days ago, and we really haven't had one of those Boston fun in that Departed role with the dark comedic stuff in a while.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any of those in a while, and I enjoyed it. You know, anytime you're in a Boston movie, you got Matt Damon there. You know, Gronk makes a freaking a showing, which was fun, which I talked to him about. I had him over to the house a couple of days ago. He goes, yeah, I mean, I thought they were going to use me more, but we'll get into that. But
what? Hold on, you only paid him $800?
Scale,
baby. He said scale, baby.
Gronk doesn't need a paycheck. Come on.
No, but it was a really cool, fun movie, and action. You had a lot of cool stars in it, and it was just refreshing to see it. Like, because we haven't had a really Boston movie, like a fun Boston movie in a minute.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Yeah, it was fun to make. It was fun to like. It was like most people won't remember, but there's a movie called Midnight Run that I loved back in the day.
Yes.
And I was like, I want to be in one of those. You know what I mean? But I was pretty sure no one was gonna like send me a great buddy comedy script. It's just not the kind of movies I've done. So I was like, let me sit down and try to write one. And a buddy of mine had already done a lot of the work. And you know, we spent like 2 years trying to write something funny. Then we get Matt and get all these other people involved. and they elevate it, and it works out. It's a good like summer movie.
It really was. Like you played that younger brother, that almost like annoying guy, like younger brother. Like you did it in all the Oceans where you were like kind of the smart, funny, like get at your older brother type
Bit of a
shit.
wise ass.
Yeah, wise ass.
Yeah.
You play that like great, and then with how Damon was playing his character, Dudley Do Right, you know, like you know, it was a fun movie. It was great.
When I leave here, I'm calling Matt, dude, and I'm gonna be like, "Bro, you're Dudley Do Right."
Dudley Do Right.
Dude, Jules says you're Dudley.
I seen Matt once. I used to, when I lived in New York, I used to ride my bike over the Manhattan Bridge every morning, and I'd go box at the Gleason's right there in Dumbo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm riding there one day. I see fucking Matt Damon getting out of a car. I'm like, "What's up, Matt?" He's like, "What's up, dude?" I was like, "I'll see you." It's just fucking the most random thing ever. I've seen Matt a couple times.
You never had him on the show, huh?
I haven't had him. No, dude.
Nah, he's kind of a boring interview.
You might have to
We
put in a good
want
word for us.
Oscar winners on here, bro.
That's right,
We
baby.
want Oscar winners on here, bro.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Listen, when people come on, all they want to do is ask you questions about the Pats?
Yes.
Well,
The
a little
answer is
bit,
yes.
but
Yeah.
that's the fun part of it, because our show is, I always pitch it to people like it's kind of like letting a listener or viewer talk how we talk in the locker room with like people that play or people that are fans of that. Like this is how we talk in the locker room. We're just talking shit, talking about things, catching up. So I mean, it becomes conversational.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Like when we had Ed O'Neill in here, and he's over here putting me in a goddamn jujitsu head chop thing. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing?
Could you take him?
He had. I mean, he's an older man now. He's an older man. And I mean, what was it? 1966, 4 touchdowns.
Polk
Yeah.
High, baby.
Paul Kai from fucking Married with Children. I used to love that show. Jack Harlow was in it.
Yep.
Yeah, Jack.
Yep.
That was fun. How was it working with
He
him?
was great.
Yeah.
He was amazing. I mean, usually when someone is like really talented in one thing, as a performer, they're going to be able to make that transition, but I think people are still surprised, he showed up and he was just incredibly prepared, really funny. He had full of ideas of his own. He didn't complain about the paycheck like Gronk. You know what I'm saying? He just like comes and does his work. You know what I mean?
Do
Does
your
his
job.
job.
Do
dude.
your job.
What's up, Gronk? Was Gronk always worried about the check in the locker room or what?
He knew the numbers.
He's a mathematician, numbers
Dude,
guy.
he's a math guy. Don't
Yeah.
let him fool you. The dude is a math guy.
He was more upset that he hasn't got any roles since.
Yeah, he said he's waiting on the next call. He wants to be in whatever the next
See,
thing
when you
is.
have that sense of entitlement, you know what I mean? Like people don't always want to call you up. I say it now. If Gronk was in the room, I wouldn't
No,
be talking his trash.
If Gronk was in the room, you'd feel a ball of energy. He's like the most genuine dude,
Yeah,
like out of anyone I've ever played with. I always describe him as just a big ass golden retriever,
yeah, that makes sense.
kind of silly, beautiful, like cool, loving. He's just a great dude. So
Good vibes.
great vibes always.
I had to beat him in ping pong though on the set.
Did you beat him?
Yeah,
Are you
Left
good at
that
ping
part
pong?
out.
yeah.
Really good?
I mean, I beat Gronk. Gronk's
Yeah, I guess.
wingspan is like 9 feet.
He's pretty decent though,
He's all right.
because he can get over back and forth.
Yeah, yeah.
But I wouldn't call him one of the best on the team.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we had rankings.
Really?
Yeah, we did. Gronk was decent. He uses sand paddles though. We used to use the
The hard
Are
one.
you using like a padded paddle?
I transitioned to the real bouncy ones
Yeah.
that you can get more
Yeah,
spin and
spin.
stuff on. But it's hard though because the ball's flying on. So I played 40 years playing
Yeah.
one way, and then I try to step up to these better paddles.
Those better paddles brings it to a whole nother. You know who's really Amendola's really good at ping pong.
Really?
Spectacular. Like that's what we used to do for 4 straight years. We would go to work. By the time we were done with all our shit, about 6:30, we'd go to his house, light a couple joints,
Play Pong.
and play Pong for fucking 5 straight hours. Compete.
Damn, I wish I was on that team.
Yeah, for like until like 9 o'clock. It'd be like 4 hours, and then we'd go home, see him at work. Next day, it was like clockwork.
Dude, I saw that doc about you. I remember you describing your daily routine about ending with an hour of yoga, eating clean, all your workouts. I don't remember you talking about the joints you smoked and the ping pong that you played.
That was when Amendola was there. So on that schedule, when I would go home and then I would do a body work and then a yoga.
I see. Then you'd clean it up.
that, or I'd leave time when he left, because he left. I played with him for 5 years. I played 8 years without him, or 6. I'm not a math guy. So I would put video games in a category where it's like my decompression time. So that was like scheduled in, so I could.
What did you play?
I played like Call of Duty, FIFA, got into Fortnite training for a while. For an athlete, the video game system's awesome because it keeps you out of trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I believe it.
I used to, go home, get my shit done, and then I just wanted to play something that I didn't have to think, that I can communicate with my boys from back home. I mean, we're all on it, so that's a form of communication with all your high school friends. But like everyone now in the league, all the leagues, they all play video games because you can't really, if you want to stick around for a while, you can't be out in the streets. And, You know what I mean? So
those games, they have a bad reputation, but they're good for the mind and body to just shut down and play, have some fun.
Sometimes, if you're playing a sweaty ass little fucking 12-year-old, this kid's stimulating your mind. I'm getting pissed off throwing controllers. Like, I don't need.
Are you wearing a headset?
Oh, full headset, full headset.
Man. I don't know about that.
Who do you play ping pong against that you like in your little circles?
Anyone. I mean, any movie I'm on, we got a tournament. I'll start a tournament. On Instigators, I won the whole thing. It was like, the whole crew, the whole cast, everyone, and I took them all down. I've done that in several movies.
Several movies, folks. Several movies. Tournament champ. Keep going.
Yeah, number one. My son can beat me now sometimes, which is sometimes makes me proud. Sometimes I just have to like go over there and grab him by the neck and put him on the ground, and beat his ass a little bit afterward. There's not a lot of people that can beat me, man, in my circle. But I can see you. I see the wheels turning, and you're wondering if you can take me.
What you just said there, when your son beat you, it was a mix of kind of emotion. I remember when I first beat my dad in like one-on-one basketball or like a race. Like my dad used to make me randomly race him. We'd be hitting ground balls. He's like, all right, let's go. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, get on the line. I want to see how fast you are. And until I was like 13 or until I was like 15, I couldn't beat my dad. And I remember when I beat him for the first time, it was one of those things where it's a humbling thing for a man.
Yeah.
I could see it in his eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he stayed with you. He helped you train a lot, like right through the pros and everything, right?
I would go home. So he trained me a lot in high school and before high school, like every day of my life, like baseball, basketball, football. And then I went to college, and then I would come back home, and he'd always, since we weren't together as much, he would sit up and think about these crazy ass fucking drills for me to do when I would come home.
That's sweet.
So he'd have like the soccer goal post, because I was a short quarterback and I had to throw, and he'd make me drop and do my throws over that post, and I'd have to get that ball up and over it. He'd be sitting there, and he'd line up all these pads at like your 20-yard out, your 10-yard out, your 5-yard out, your skinny post, your deep post, your slant route, and he would tape PVC pipe and put a bucket on it, and he'd make me go through the whole tree. And he would sit there with a fucking broom trying to hit my ball. So I would, he was just, this guy was absolutely.
Were you indulging him or did you like it?
Both.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to butt heads, but, I needed that stimulation. I'm an ADD type kid at that time. And so like, he knew that, and he knew what buttons to push, and he knew when to take it to the next line to like piss me off. Mm-hmm. And I would get pissed off, and he knew that I got better when I got pissed off. So there was like a lot of like Jedi mind trick shit going with my dad.
Did you go through years where you resented him? Like you felt like too much pressure from him?
No, because I left. When I went to college, I didn't get it as much. Yeah. And I saw once I left my dad and he wasn't around, I was doing the things that he was teaching me by myself now. Like, I would do those dumb drills where I would set things up and I wouldn't leave until I hit them all, because that's where you gain your confidence is through your preparation. And I learned that through him, and anywhere I got to at a next level, the baddest dudes, the best guys were the guys that were always the prepared guys doing little extras and stuff. And so I always tried to incorporate all that stuff, and I became kind of like him. You know, I was notoriously known for like my ball drills in the morning at New England. I'd get there, 5:30, hit the tub, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd hit up when, it used to be Double J's and it became Jimmy Neutron. Then it became Bobby Balls, our equipment staff guys. And I'd have like a little combine for them to see who could throw. And I'd have them and I'd adopt them. And we'd go and do like 500 balls, tennis ball drills before the day started. Just
You're
so
there at dawn doing all that stuff.
yeah, just so you can get your eyes dilated and have a good work day.
Wow.
Yeah,
Did you know, at what point were you like, I'm going to make the pros?
I didn't. It wasn't until I housed a punt in Philadelphia in Lincoln Financial Field. My first preseason game that's when I felt like I could play with the pros. And I was always the guy. I was always a very confident guy. I always felt like I was the best guy in the field anywhere I played. To the point of until I got to the NFL. It wasn't until that time, because I played a different position. There was always another guy that was supposed to be the guy. They never really talked about me. They always talked about my deficiencies. So I was always kind of that guy. So sometimes I don't know if you believe it, but you're so trapped in trying to prove people wrong that you're not thinking about. I wasn't thinking about that. I was just trying to. I'm fucking better than this guy. Let's go. I always dealt with what was on my plate at that time.
I mean, the way that people think of you, like your story, is sort of, at least for young people. Like I coached my kids in football and soccer and stuff, and was like the guy who never was on the fast track. People weren't going like, "Yeah, you're definitely going to make it. You're the superstar. You're going to be the thing." But you persevered and you kept going and you kept going. And those are the most important stories for those kids, for sure. Because a lot of them are like, they don't feel that way. They don't feel like there's always going to be some kid. You get in some tournament, even if you're the best in your league, you end up in some tournament in Vegas and you just get destroyed by the kids from Arizona or whatever, So there's always those moments where you feel like, oh, damn, there's a lot of people better than I am. And if they don't have someone to point to and think of as like, that guy who ended up being that superstar, he also was that way too as a kid, then you lose hope. So you were always someone that like the kids thought of as like, I'll be like that dude,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
When did you feel like you were an actor?
Never. I never felt like, I was never treated like, oh, this kid's going to be a success. Anytime I was in a room with people that were very successful, the attitude was kind of like, what's he doing here? You know what I mean? Like, hey, kid, you must be happy to be in this room, And
I felt that.
Yeah.
I keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And it was, it didn't always make me think, yeah, man, I am here. Like, didn't fill me with pride and confidence. A lot of the time it would knock you down a bit and make you go like, man, I'm really like, there must be something about me that says I don't really belong in the upper tier of people and wherever my field is. Sometimes I'd show up like I did Ocean's 11, you know what I mean? Like all these big stars in it. And there was a big dinner the night before we were going to start. And one of the producers said, I hadn't even met him yet. You know what I mean? He's like, "Here's the movie." And he was like, "Nice to meet you. You're very lucky to be here." And I was like, damn, I was just starting to feel like, okay, like I can compete. I can play with these guys or whatever, but forever there was someone there to remind me, like you weren't really destined to be this at this level. You know what I mean? And I started to enjoy that because I would think like, okay, you think I'm lucky to be here? I know it has a lot to do with my own like grit. I didn't take no for an answer. I kept going. It wasn't handed to me, and I wasn't born with the like face or the this or the that says this guy's a movie star. So I would start to reframe that sort of semi-rejection as a compliment, of like what I've been able to achieve. And so even when I was like nominated for like an Academy Award or win one, it was still like people would say like the outsider, you know what I mean? Like they would call me certain things as like the long shot, the this and the that. And I'd be like, okay, good. I'm a long shot. Okay, I'll take it. You know what I mean? I'll take it.
Yeah.
So I started to enjoy it, but it's still that way,
Do you think that thought of what you feel that people or those experiences that you've had has made you the way you are now? Is that why you've attained your success? Because that's the same shit I felt. where, like you'd have the guy, like when you said you're at Oceans and people are, oh, you're lucky to be here. I remember going on a recruiting trip and they brought in all like the studs of our high school and they like pretty much went to everyone else and they didn't go to you. And then, like, that's what fucking fueled me. Yeah. Or the motivation of, you're not supposed to be here or you're happy to be here, but you made it. It's kind of like, when someone says, oh, how tall you are, how tall are you? I go, 5'10", 5'9", 5'10". I go, it's pretty cool, huh? Get to battle against those 6'6" dudes, still dominated. It's one of the, it's the same kind of shit. It's crazy.
But dude, you managed to be that and still have the attitude. Like, you were a spark on that team. You were really fun to watch, man. For people, I was talking to my dad on the way over here. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go over to talk to Jules, and he was excited, and I was like, man, this dude's 80, 84, and my son's 15. Like, that's a big range for a fan base, man. Like, you have people who loved to watch you because I get loved playing. And like, sometimes you'd be mic'd up. Yeah. I don't know why they mic'd you up so much, but you were mic'd up a lot, and you could hear like the way you talk to the other people, to the other players on both teams. And it was like, that dude loves being out there, loves playing the game. And it made it so much fun to watch. At a time, like, the Pats are always fun for me to watch. But there were some years in there where it was like, it's a slog. Even when you're winning, it's a slog. It felt like, oh, we're on a mart. Like, if we don't win, then it's a disappointment. But people hate us. It was always like,
or if you don't win by enough.
Yeah, we're gonna win by enough. Like, it was like there were a few tense years in there, and but you were fun and you made it fun. So not only did you persevere and be like, had to prove yourself, but you seemed to like carry some joy for the game.
I appreciate that. That means a lot because I did love the game. I still do love the game. It ultimately brought me everything that I've had in my life. But I do have other interests. Do you love acting?
I love acting. I don't always love the business of movies, you know?
No one loves the business of what their passion is, but that's what makes it the work.
Yeah.
If you didn't have, like, I hated fucking negotiating with Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft for these dog shit fucking contracts, and being owned up for all but you still love the game.
You weren't doing that negotiating, dude, were you?
When you get older, you start, you learn the ways.
You would get into it with them and knock on their door and be like, hey, man, I need another zero on that.
Well, Bill used to corner you.
And say what?
So, like, if there was some, if you were talking, if your agent and the GM, Casario, or whoever's handling there was like a stalemate of where we were at, he'd be like, hey, Jules, just come over here for a second. Let me talk to you in the cafeteria, sit you down. And he did that to me a few times in my career. When I was young, I'd be like, Coach, I'd play the dumb card. I don't know what you're talking, because he's a smart motherfucker where he'd trap you into something. You know what I mean? I'd be like, I let my agents do that, Coach. I'm just worried about football. By the end, I'm going up to Casario saying, hey, I need $500,000 more for these incentives because this motherfucker's getting paid that. So you better put that in there. It was different. But yeah, I understand, you have a love, but it's all the outside shit that makes things work.
Yeah.
It's not work. I'd play football for free if it wasn't for all that bullshit.
You miss it?
I do. I start to miss it more the better my body feels.
Are you healing? Your body's getting...
I'm pretty much, I'm as healed as I'll be. I have a lot of deficiencies through, 12 surgeries and everything that I've had throughout my career. And you feel stuff here and there, but I'm not in like crazy pain. But the year after I retired, I had a tear in the root of my meniscus, and like I was 34, turning 35, and they asked me, do you want to get this thing done? It's a 12-month microfracture surgery. And I'm like, 34, I got 3 Super Bowls. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to play the year and we'll just rehab it and I'll see how I can do it. You know what I mean? There's going to be some pain. You could just deal with it. Go out and play that year. And it was like such a grind to get to the game. And I'm a practice player. I gained confidence through the practice execution. Practice execution becomes game reality. So like that's where the shit talking, that's where your confidence comes because you've seen it in your head already. Mm-hmm. You've done it. you've seen the bad looks, the good looks, and I couldn't practice hard anymore. I'd get 2 reps of practice, and then I'd go to the water tanks, and I'd condition in the water, and it just became such a grind. Then I ripped up my ribs, and that first year out, it was like, I hate football. You know, it just became, because there's a standard that you've earned through your consistent play through the years. And when the time you start seeing that you're not that guy on the film and you're in pain, it's a hard thing to do. It's a very humbling thing to do, to go through, and every guy goes through it in our business. You know, we're the wheels aren't going as fast as they used to go. Father time catches up, and it's just one of those things. It was tough the first year. Second year, I'm starting to feel better. Things are healing up, you know, and now I'm going into year 3, year 4, and now, like, you know, I'm out playing soccer with Lily in the backyard. I'm kicking stuff, doing little foot drills. Like, I think I could do this right now. You know what I mean? But you always miss it.
I'd imagine that even if you ran your career out and you were healthy, you ended, you know, you went out just when you wanted to, how you wanted to, that you would still crave the, like, the competition, you know, just organized sport. I mean, I played through high school, and I still, when I turned like 30, I was like, man, I really miss organized sports.
Yeah.
Just going out with dudes, playing, competing. I miss it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, what do you do, like, for that? Do you...
Now I compete with myself. I'm learning new stuff. And you get a lot of that competition through your kids. You see when they're learning new things, they're doing soccer, they're doing tennis, and I get to see it and watch them with their coach, and you know, you see their progression on something they've been working on for a long time. Like, I feel like that's the most excitement I get now. And it doesn't even have to be in sport. It could be in reading. It could be math. Like, that is the new competition. And then, you know, I picked up boxing. I started that a couple years ago, and really thinking when you're tired and learning something that I've never done in my life. You know, see how that progression's gone. That's where I get some competition out. And I started golfing a little bit. You know, it's like everyone does that.
Yeah, right.
So
You're friends with Wahlberg, aren't you?
a little bit.
How's he in the ring?
I haven't fought him yet.
Yeah. Yet?
Yeah.
You gonna get him?
I mean, I might have to take him down.
How old are you?
I'm 38.
What is he? 50?
Probably like, I don't know. You guys all look young.
He's 50.
All you Hollywood folk, man. I
Well,
read
Mark-
that you're 48. I thought you were like 32 or something.
Yeah,
Wahlberg's 53. You could take him, bro.
He's 53.
Yeah.
But he's on 100,000 supplements, and she's
Gets up at 3 in the morning,
Yeah.
praying for an hour, fighting for an hour,
it's
golfing
gonna be a
for
tough
an hour.
fight, dude.
Wahlberg would be a tough one. He's a
Hey.
good golfer.
Is he?
He's a really good golfer.
He's a good dude.
He is. He was actually one of the first dudes out of the Boston, like, acting community or whatever.
Yeah, he popped.
Huh?
He popped off early, like when I was
That-
still in high school.
But he also, when I was a nobody in New England, he invited me to his house once out in here in LA because he heard I was out here, and he was just a cool dude that, like, kind of was like, yeah, he let me hang around and kind of gave me some words of advice
Before you started to
before I
become
was
known?
I was like a special teamer still.
Oh, nice.
So he was pretty cool. He, you know, invite me to stuff, and he was just a cool ass dude.
Never did that to me. Fucking what's that, bro?
No, it's a crazy story that people. So I roll up to I go and get this acting coach out here, this acting coach Lee, and I roll up there one day. I'm sitting there, and she's like going to her back little, like, ADU, and I'm sitting out there, and she goes, "Oh, can you wait up one sec? I have one of my clients." And I'm like, "Sure, yeah." This is the first time I ever met with her. I'm like, I'm nervous as fuck. She gave me some homework. I'm thinking about lines and stuff. Now I got to put weight. Now I'm thinking, like, maybe she's doing this on purpose. Maybe she doesn't have anyone there. She wants
Gaming
to
you a little bit?
Gaming me a
Yeah.
little bit. Roll up in there. It's fucking Casey. I'm like, what the fuck? And so we kicked it off for a little while. We
Yeah.
talked for a little while. And then the next day after our session, she gave me more homework, and she gave me a fucking scene from Manchester by the Sea.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the one at the boat dock when you're with your nephew
Uh-huh.
and he's like busting your balls about keeping the boat, and
Right.
I was doing that, and the next day I went, like the week after I walked in, I was fucking nervous as fuck that I thought she was gonna make me run lines with you or something. I'm like, this lady's crazy. What is she thinking? And it was fun. That's when we really first got to meet.
Dude, my side of that story, I was sitting there with her, and I'm like, she's like, I gotta wrap it up. I got someone coming in. I was like, who do you got coming in? Oh, I was grilling her. She's like, oh, just someone, a new client. Didn't want to say, protecting your privacy. And I was like, I'm not leaving, Lee. Who's coming in? And she told me, and I was like, no, I'm really not leaving. I'm staying here until dude gets here. And I waited. And then you came in. I took like half your time. I was like peppering you with questions. I was like, I'm not leaving. I got my time with my man here right now. I got a lot on my mind. So we stayed there. And then I went back like whatever it was a few weeks later. And I was like, I want you to schedule me before Jules. Whenever Jules is coming in, I want to be there before. So I got some more things I want to ask him. She was like, no, I can't do that, dude. I'm a professional.
She's the best. She's such a she's taught me a lot, and I only worked with her for a little time because at that time that's when I landed the job with Fox, and so then with Inside the NFL, and so I put that on hold because I was starting to get nervous for like talking in front of the camera and all that stuff. So I didn't get to see her. I haven't seen her as much as late, but you know, she's a cool teacher that takes a lot of the time to learn you and then learns your motivation.
Yeah.
What motivates you, and she was able to explain things. Like I always remember, acting is not about right or wrong. It's about belief or not belief or something she would say, right?
Mm-hmm,
Do you believe or do you not believe?
Uh-huh.
You know, and she's just a interesting lady that I enjoyed every bit with, and I got to get back to her.
Yeah, you should. She's very smart. She's good with that. Like I didn't go to theater school, or I didn't go to drama. You know, I never did any of that. I never had an acting coach. And then I went to her one time just because I had something to do that was like too much lines. I'm getting old. I'm like, I just got to sit with somebody and run them. And I met her, and she had great advice. She's really, really good. And everyone, like, I know a lot of other people that have worked with her, and she makes them better.
Yeah.
You know, she's good. You would be a good actor, dude. Are you still interested in doing that, or you just want to do it for like when you got to do commercials?
No, I would be interested. I just have an insecurity of being the person on set that doesn't know their line. Like it's like not knowing
don't
the
have
play.
any insecurities at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like that's the only thing I get nervous about is that kind of stuff. But I'm definitely interested in getting
Gronk
into that.
knew his lines, bro.
Gronk, he's funny. We did a parody of fucking Good Will Hunting for the schedule release party. Fucking Gronk was your brother. I was Matt, and Ernie Adams was fucking Robin Williams.
Uh-huh.
So it was a fun thing. And Rob's like, I get so excited when I have to do lines. I sit there and I just like practice them for 6 or 7 days by myself. I love remembering. Like that's Rob. Yeah. You know. Let's get back to the Instigators. So, movie shot in Boston, takes place in Boston, a lot of North Shore, South Shore, all around, because it was Quincy and stuff.
Salisbury Beach,
Yeah.
all that.
What's it like shooting a movie when you go back home? Is it a hassle because of people that you know, or do you like doing it? Because I remember when I go play games in like the Bay Area or in like California, I got to get 40 tickets. I got to deal with, you know.
Yeah, right.
You're here for work. You're here for a job. Now, how do you handle that when you have to go back and shoot something in, you know, upper Northeast?
Well, in this case, you know, more people want to go see Matt, so I'm like, you know, talk to Matt. I'm sure he'll get you on set. You know what I mean? They're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, go ask him, man. He'll hook you up. But I think that like the first time I went back to work in Boston, you know, they love you. They're great. They're like, they want you there. They want you shooting. And then on day 2, they're like, get off my fucking street, bro. The lights and the noise. And then you have to endure the next 50 days of them like poking holes in your tire. And, you know, they don't want the trucks there. They don't want the shit. So they're not, you know, a lot of movies go to Boston, and Massachusetts has been really good for the industry. And we've been good for the city, but like the people there understandably get sick of having movies coming and going constantly in their neighborhood. I love going there because I would rather live in Boston than be living out here. So I get to go spend a few months there, and it's not like going to Budapest or Pittsburgh, like some place that's different, you know, where you don't know anyone and you get to be home. Everything's familiar. So I love it. And when I come up with projects, I'm always like, we could do this in Boston, I think. Yeah, we could set this. Yeah, so I love doing it. But on the other hand, like a lot of people I knew, I've been gone for 30 years, man. So a lot of people I know are gone. It's not like I don't have to, not 40 people knocking on my door. It's just a few. And but I love doing it. And
Do you have a house there?
no,
You stay at a hotel?
I stay
Or
at
you
my,
rent a house? Or you
I
stay at your
did a
mom's
whole
house?
movie staying at my mom's one
Yeah.
time. Yeah, I did a whole,
yeah.
and
Still stay at the folks' house.
or you just get an apartment or whatever.
Yeah.
And but it's nice that you get to go see games, like all the teams you want to see. You're there. You get to go. I used to work at Fenway, so like going home, I always go back there. It's like a core memory. Those years of every home game working at Fenway Park. It's like my 8th grade into high school. It's like so that's the first stop, and then you make the rounds and see all your favorite places, and then.
What food spots? Any food spots?
Shit, man. Food spots have changed. As you know, the city changed. So
Yes.
the last, especially the last 10 years, it's like everything's different. A lot of those restaurants gone, just the old places. You go, Leo's sandwich shop, just gone, and but I'll go, I hit my Indian spot, Maharaja. That's the best Indian in the country.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Santuka has good ramen over there, Newberry. I think that's like 15 years old.
On Newbury Street?
Yeah, off of Newberry. One
That's
of
where
those.
all the fancy people hang. That's where you roll around.
Nah, I mean I go to South. I go to Reno's in East Boston for some good lobster ravioli.
Uh-huh.
You go there. There's really good Jalisco's in East Boston. My favorite Mexican. That's been there for a while. Leone's over in Somerville for some fucking sheet pizza.
Oh, yeah.
I used to like going there. Pinocchio's in Cambridge, right? Isn't Pinocchio?
Yeah. That's where a dude dreamed up Facebook. You know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
One of my favorite things about the Instigators is the areas of Boston that were shot in. Because usually, like Boston movies, it's like Southie or North End or all these. But like you even there's no spoilers, but chase scene like in his alley in Back Bay,
Yeah.
and how you like utilize certain parts that are just generally not seen in Boston movies before was cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, you had the police.
Is that where you were at? Did you live in Back Bay?
I lived in the Back Bay. I lived over there for 8 years. I lived in Foxborough my first 6.
You lived in Foxborough?
Foxborough, Plainville, Rentham.
Pacing, baby.
Rentham. Those are the towns that we would play in high school, but otherwise never go to.
Yeah.
We just didn't know anyone out there.
Sticks.
No reason. Yeah, it kind of sticks.
Sticks.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some good food. The Plainville Deli was always good. It was a little Italian deli. I'll still go back and check that
Were you
out.
when you joined the team, were you supposed to, is that like a rite of passage? You got to go live out at the.
No, but you're not going to live in the city when you're trying to make a team. I mean, I had roommates until like my 5th year. Like, I mean, no furniture. It was like mercenary life.
Yeah.
Pizza boxes. You're fucking. Shane Vereen used to order Domino's. We would just stack the boxes, use it as like a side table and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Dudes think of anyone who's in the pros in any sport as having made it. They're rich, they're loaded, especially now when everyone shows up. They're like dressed to the nines,
Yeah.
showing up at the park or whatever. But like, that's not the case.
no.
You know?
80. I would say 60% of the team is making a league minimum, which is great money.
Yeah.
But you got to think about it. At that time, it was like 385, 390. You don't even know if you're gonna make the team.
Yeah.
You got to make the team to make that 390, or if you're on practice squad, it's 100 racks. You're
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
100 grand. So and there's a lot of moving parts. You could be on another team. You could get traded. It wasn't until I felt like I had an established foundation of equity with the team in the area that's when I went to Boston.
Right.
And
That must have felt good.
it felt really good, and I enjoyed going home. I remember my first 4 years, like I was literally in the backyard of the stadium.
Mm.
Like it was a fucking grind.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the 25-30 minute drive in the morning, reverse commute, so you didn't have bad traffic. I enjoyed that. It'd wake me up. It
Yeah.
helped me get ready for the day, start the day right, and I could handle like my personal life on the drive back.
Yeah.
On the phone.
Yeah.
Because that's the only time you catch me is if on the phone I'm in my car
Yeah.
or I'm chilling.
You worked hard, man. You were focused on
Very focused.
Yeah.
I mean, had to. Wasn't good enough not to be.
Yeah. You were good enough.
There's some
dude.
guys that could just slap it out there.
That's not really true.
Well, they don't stick around long, but there's guys that can fuck around and have 1, 2, 3 good years. You want to have a real.
Then it starts to come apart.
Yeah, and then things catch up, injuries happen. It's a lot of prevention type stuff that you gotta take. Your body's your temple, bro.
Yeah.
And that thing, and especially nowadays with all the technology, the information.
I wrote a movie once about these two, back to the Yanks, these two Yankees in the 70s who, I don't know if you ever heard this story, true story. They traded wives.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know the
Yep.
story?
Wife swap?
Not only a wife swap, a family,
Popular
houses,
category.
dogs, they traded lives in the middle of the season. They went out it was like swingers style, like 70s. They were like, hey, let's like trade, one night, like let's swap couples or whatever. And then it kind of stuck. They stayed with it. And then one couple really fell in love and the other couple was sort of into it, but it didn't work as a relationship. But then this was when journalists didn't talk about the private lives of athletes. That was taboo. You didn't do it. You know what I mean? And the journalists traveled with the team. So they all knew them. And they all knew they were around the partying. They knew all the stories, Mickey Mantle, wild stories, but they never reported on it. And so what happened was, interesting story. This was going on for a while. They were like living in each other's houses, taking care of the other person's kids, the whole thing. And the Yankees weren't doing so well. The Mets that year were playing great. And one of it was like the Daily News, someone decided they pulled their person that usually covered the Yankees from the locker room and they went to travel with the Mets. And someone else got cycled in and it was a woman. And the Yankees said, we're not going to have a woman covering the team in the locker room. It was like just straight up sexism. And they blocked her. And she heard about this story because everybody knew about it. She was like, okay, like I'm not going to be allowed to cover the team because I'm a woman. How about I just write this story? Wrote the story of this what was happening. And I'm simplifying it all. And then the story broke. So now now all the other journalists feel like they have to cover this story too because they got scooped and they're like, this is kind of a weird story. I guess we better write about it, even though everyone knew like you're not supposed to talk about the private lives of athletes. And then it became a national story. Johnny Carson's telling jokes about it every night. You know what I mean? Like, yes, the Yankees better cancel Family Day, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And they're like, and then it sort of became like a lot of pressure on these guys. And one of the couples broke up, and the other couple stayed together. They stayed married, had their own kids, stayed married all the way until the end, until that player passed away a few years ago. But in the researching that story to write it into a movie, I talked to all these journalists and who were at the time covering the Yanks, and I learned that, like what their lives were like. And even for the best players, it was not. They weren't rolling high. They were like trying to make ends meet. Even guys that weren't out there partying and doing stuff, they were still just trying to like pay their mortgage. You know what I mean? Even when they're performing really at the highest level. So it's only till just like the 80s when athletes start getting, I don't know if it's the same for football, but definitely in baseball, it wasn't. It was just till kind of recently that people started becoming, millionaires and stuff.
What do you got, Jack?
Yeah, crazy. The Daily News never misses a chance to throw a little like pot shot in a headline here. So from that story back in the 70s, 2 Yank pitchers trade wives. Peterson and Kikic hurl changeups. They never miss a chance for a bad joke.
I kept on thinking about the wife swap in fucking Chappelle show. Is this a lightsaber? The black couple and the white couple.
Oh my God, bro.
Let's go back into time. So this is a segment where we go back around the time of the game when it was played, and we talk about a little bit about pop culture. This was July 24th, 2004. Number 1 movie, iRobot. You ever see that?
No.
That's Will Smith, right? The Apocalypse one?
Yep.
Oh, is it?
That's like robot,
Legend.
futuristic.
Or is it I Am Legend?
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend
No,
is the
both are
apocalypse.
him.
Both
I
are
Legend
him?
is apocalyptic.
Is this-
iRobot is maybe
Is this
robots.
is Bridget?
Yeah, this is Bridget.
Oh, this is Bridget.
This is Bridget Moynihan. iRobot.
Okay.
Okay.
Tom Brady.
There we go. Hey. Number 1 song, Leave,
cool-
Get
too cool
Out
for
by
us.
Huh?
Too cool to come on the pod.
Too cool to come on the fucking pod.
Who wouldn't come on?
Tom fucking Brady.
TB wouldn't show up?
I mean,
Not yet, maybe.
not yet.
We've been left at the. Oh my God. Been left at the altar.
One
numerous
Oscar
times.
doing?
is worth 6 championships.
I don't know. I guess
What's
Amen.
he so busy with?
everything. Being in the world's #1 bachelor of the world, great team dad. Fucking, getting ready for TV, this, that.
He had time for a roast.
He had
He
time
for that.
for a roast.
Hey, I heard that paycheck. I'd make time for that too.
Ron.
#1 song, JoJo, Leave. You remember that song? Boston Girl, Foxborough High.
Let's hear it.
Leave, get out right now. Oh, you want to hear the real
Not
song?
ringing any bells, bro.
I was trying to make sure we cleared the rights.
Motorola Razr released the phone. Do you have a Razr?
No.
I had a Razr.
Razor was sick.
I think I was like a junior in high school right here. The Razr, I had a black Razr flip phone. Thought it was sick. Shake Shack opened its first location. Burger
That's
fan?
a big deal.
Are you a burger fan?
I've
Are you
been
vegan, right?
I've been a vegan for 28 years.
How you liking it?
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel all right.
Yeah. You feel better?
Still managed to I got a little bit of meat on me. It's
look
harder to
good.
put on muscle, but you stay lean and stay healthy. Yeah, clear-eyed, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on over, man. Come on over.
I when I would play, I would do like vegan 3 days. I'd do like 3 days where I wouldn't eat meat or I'd have, yeah. But
What was the idea there?
when I would try to lean up for like a photo shoot or something, yeah, I had to do like Men's Health or something. So
Not what I thought you were gonna say,
Yeah.
bro. But
yeah, just try to get yoked. Ocean's 12 drops in December.
yep, I never saw it.
You never saw it?
No.
I
It
was
heard.
very good.
So you don't like watching your movies?
I don't love watching my movies, and those I didn't even really like.
Yeah,
Maybe I shouldn't say that. I didn't like those movies. I didn't like this. It's just not my kind of thing.
yeah.
Have you never watched Good Will Hunting?
I saw a good one thing. Yeah,
Just because
I regretted it. I
As a
regretted
Boston
watching.
Why?
it.
What was it? I took some notes.
It's
I was
not
go-
like watching film, when you're the MVP of the Super Bowl, dude. It's like
I hate that.
you over and over. You're like, yeah, look at that catch. I'm watching. I'm like, a lot of other people have manipulated what you've done, and also you just have to live with what you've done. I don't know. It's like hearing your voice on the answering machine or something. I just don't like it.
I don't like watching, like rewatching our shit. Even
Yeah,
though I
but-
do it with the coach
Yeah.
sometimes, just to kind of see where I can get
Do you
better.
watch these?
I don't watch these, but like my TV stuff, I don't like watching these at all. But yeah,
Did they give you media training for this? Teach you what you can say and what you can't say?
for this,
Yeah.
no, this is just we own this. This is we produce this.
Right. Yeah, got you.
And we also just cut the stuff he does say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MySpace was a social media platform. You remember? Did you have a MySpace?
I didn't jump on that.
You didn't jump on MySpace?
No.
So you're a little older.
See, what was happening in 2004 was I was having a kid. So I wasn't paying attention to.
Oh, are you stressed McDest?
Yeah, I was like, what is. I was a young dude. I had a pregnant girlfriend and I was going to have a baby. It was the best year of my life. It changed everything for the better, but I wasn't getting the new Razor or watching JoJo or starting my MySpace, fan base.
Dude, you could have had so many cool pictures of your new baby on MySpace.
I know.
Oh my God, moving around that top 8. Ooh.
See, I was a junior in high school growing up in Silicon Valley. So like all those things were at the heat
Yeah, I bet.
of everything. Facebook, it was crazy.
Were you Mr. Popular in high school?
No, I wasn't Mr. Popular.
You're the QB. You're a good looking dude.
Yeah, but I was like an undersized kid still. I didn't hit puberty until I was like 18. I was like 5'2" until like my senior year.
And you were still
I was
QB?
5'2". I was like 5'5" my junior year. I sprouted up to like 5'8" my senior year. I started playing quarterback my sophomore year. I was a late bloomer.
You made up for it though late in life.
Let's go into the sports world of 2004. The College Football National Championship, LSU. Is that Saban LSU?
Yes, I believe that was the one Saban won for the Tigers.
College football guy?
No.
No, I'm Boston. See, that
Pro
goes to
sports
our
town.
that goes to our shit. We always talk about.
Always say that.
But we
I grew
love
up in the
Bill O'Brien
Bay.
at Boston College.
That's right.
Which is very similar to Boston, where we're a pro sport
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
There
Well,
wasn't
when
a-
you have great pro sports
Yeah.
teams, it takes a lot of the energy.
Yeah. Super Bowl champions, New England Patriots.
Just won their second.
So you guys got to be starting to feel some juices in Boston
Oh, hell yeah.
at this point.
Yes.
Sox are knocking at the door. Patriots got a couple. Where does that bring us in the hierarchy of Boston sport fan for you in the sports?
What do you mean?
Baseball, basketball, football.
I grew up
Hockey.
playing baseball.
So
I
baseball
worked
won.
at Fenway. Baseball was number one.
One.
My dad was a huge football. It's where he probably made more money betting on football than he did working at the bar. He was a bartender.
Hell yeah.
So it was always football for
Boston
Dad.
guy, standard. Keep going.
When I was a kid, I skated hockey. I skated with Bobby Orr one time. But I lost interest in it, and too small, got beat too many times. I didn't like it. I like baseball better. So that's how it ranks.
And basketball was last.
Basketball was like,
Yeah.
what was I gonna do?
Sox town. You were a Sox guy.
I mean, I loved Celtics, but I couldn't play.
Yeah. I get it.
What'd you play in high school?
Baseball.
Baseball? Okay.
Play some baseball.
Cambridge Ridge Latin? Let's go, baby.
Yeah,
Let's go,
He
baby.
played
the
some
worst baseball team in the state. Only way I made varsity.
What'd you play? What position?
I played shortstop.
Oh, let's go.
No ma.
I came when I missed it. I was saying I missed playing so much. I came out here and I started a baseball team. We played the LA Park and Rec League.
hard pitch.
And then we and then we played in the Woodbat League, Beverly Hills Woodbat League, 2014 city champs.
Let's go,
Took
baby.
it down. So I kept playing, and then until just a couple of years ago when I had surgery on my elbow. But
You gotta hit the soft pitch, slow pitch softball now,
I
dog.
don't know if I can.
They're fun. I
Yeah?
used to be a ringer with my dad. I used to go play on his team because I went to junior college for a year, so I was still at home.
Yeah.
He'd hit me up on Wednesday nights, like, "Hey, let's go.
Yeah.
We need you." I'd go up there, they'd line them up, hit bombs. Now wait,
2004 though. Can we just talk for a minute about Game 3?
1,000%.
I was at Game 3 in New York. Matt and I actually we were there. We're sitting on third base line. Only people in Yankee Stadium. This is 2004. We are down. That game we lost that game, so we're down 3. Right? Am I getting it right? Yeah. And Arod is there at third. And I don't think I've ever had this happen. I've been to a million baseball games, dude, and been loud. And I've never had the players acknowledge me. And dude, we were there, the only people I think wearing Red Sox hat, ballsy move, by the way, in Yankee Stadium. And I'm being loud. And eventually, Arod looks over right at us, just stares. It gives a look of like it's just a mosquito that's been in his ear all night. You know what I mean? Like hate. Just annoyance, hate, and then he goes back to the game. It's one of my proudest moments as a fan. And then we lose that game. That's the last game of the curse. I like to think that we broke the curse. Then it's the first game in Boston, right, which is Game 4. That game, which I guess you had Poppy on to talk about or whatever. But I know a lot of people talk about it. But when I was thinking about that game, I was like, the most interesting thing about that game is how, and he wouldn't say this probably, is how unremarkable it actually was. It was like there was no historically good performance on the mound or at the plate. It was like their guys were slumping. Varitek was kind of everyone stayed kind of slumping. Who was it second? He had a few like
Petey.
Yeah.
It was Pedroia.
No, it wasn't.
No.
It's
It
Pokey
was Pokey
Reese.
Reese back then.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was a couple like infield errors. It was like not a great game. It was like it wasn't a shutout. It wasn't a blowout. It just they went back and forth. Like they had the lead, we had the lead, they had the lead. Am I
Went
right?
the extras too, I think a little bit.
And then in the ninth inning, they bring in Rivera, and the only unusual thing that happens, other than it being like we're on the brink of falling apart, of losing the season, is that he walks the leadoff batter. And then it was like that never happened. And then things started to turn.
And then it was Robert Steele.
And then we tied it up. And then it went into over. But it only went like a few innings.
Mark Bellhorn.
Yeah, Mark Bellhorn.
Bellhorn.
Bellhorn and Varitek were both slumping. And then Bellhorn a couple errors. Good dude, good player, bad game, whatever. And then and so it was kind of like a nothing game. It's only in the context of the 100-year picture of what was happening that it becomes a great game. Because, Big Papi hits it out to win the game. But he's doing that. That's not that uncommon. You know what I mean? Like how many times did he hit a walk-off? So Ortiz gets a walk-off and it's a big celebration and they stay alive. But it only becomes an important game because it was the first game that starts the next 7 where they just they just run it. So that's why I love that game. 'Cause it's just like everyday baseball in a weird way. And it's just the big picture story of it that makes it awesome.
And another one of those games, classic Yankees Red Sox, takes about 4 hours. It's a war of attrition.
Yeah.
No one leaves. Stadium's still packed. But you're right. Then there are those moments where it like switches and becomes historic.
Who was it? Derek Lowe? Where does it say? Is it? We have it up there?
Derek Lowe would have been in game 4. The one we came
was
back
pitching?
was that was Derek Lowe. Yep,
It was Derek Lowe.
Derek Lowe, Mike
Who was
Timlin,
not,
Keith
like-
Folk.
Was not being given for some reason. I feel like he had something to prove.
Oh yeah,
What was it? Was he dropped or something? He was like
I
pissed.
think, but he was. I mean, he was absolutely insane that postseason run. Let me see what
Beckett?
what was.
But he only
Beckett,
threw
I
a
think, was
few.
later.
He gave up a few runs. He only threw like 4 or 5 innings. I don't know if you have the stats,
Let me
but
pull
it was all kind of like, meh. Like, where's this going?
Did you go at any more games after we went to the game
No.
3? You didn't see the rest.
I didn't see the rest. That was the only one I could get to. And I had a brand new baby. My son was born May 31st, 2004. So I remember we were in this tiny apartment in New York when they won. I'm watching it on TV. Kid is sleeping. My girlfriend didn't care about baseball. It's one room, bed, TV, kitchen. I'm like silently like, fuck you. It goes crazy. She's like, what is happening? Shut up. The infant is sleeping. I was like losing my mind.
Who's your first call? Was it your dad?
I think
You gotta.
I don't know. Maybe it was my brother. I don't know where he was. It might have been a dude I worked at Fenway with. This guy, we worked like every home. It wasn't even a very good friend of mine at the time, but he was the kid I watched 100 million games with. Losing, always losing. Oakland A's coming in. Only home runs we ever caught when I was there was the other team. They'd come over the monster and go like get the ball. It's never our club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Would you ever take?
What'd you do at Fenway?
I just sold sausages and hot dogs.
Hell yes.
You have a good sausage hit. Get your sausage hit.
Oh yeah,
got a
yeah.
good one?
I was out there. I was so young. When you're young, you don't know how young you look. But if you're in 8th grade, I didn't hit puberty till I was
You were
like
8th grade
I was in 8th
selling
grade,
fucking
dude.
sausages.
Yeah.
You were up
Grinding,
and down
baby.
those stairs.
no, dude. Worse, I'm behind the Green Monster in a sausage stand.
Yeah.
Outside on the street.
Oh, so you're one of the street sausage
Yeah.
guys.
And I'm there. So when I get out of school, I gotta go over to the park, set up. The thing sausages are 100 days old, pulling the rats off them. You're putting the sausages on the grill. And then you work people coming in drunk, a million drunks coming in, give me a sausage, kid. You know what I mean? And then everyone's in the park. We'd sneak in. We'd give food to the guy at the turnstile. We'd watch the games from like the 4th to the 7th. And then we'd come out, and then people were really drunk coming out, and you're serving them sausages on the way home. And then the guy who owned my stand would just go into the Cask and Flagon, which is a big bar on the corner, big famous bar. Again, I'm in 8th grade. I look like I'm 7 years old. And he's like, come in, Buck. He didn't want to give me a ride home until he'd had a few. So I go in and I wait in the bar. No one gives a shit that I'm sitting there at the bar. The guy has a few more drinks, then he gives me a ride home. I get home at 11:30 at night. My mom's like, do your homework, go to bed. That was my day,
Jesus.
Fucking love
Ah,
that.
rock.
Have you been back to Fenway since you've become somebody? Did you sign the wall? Did you go in the monster and
Yeah.
sign the wall?
Yeah. I
That's
did
the
that.
cool thing. You
That
get to
was
go sign
very
the
cool.
wall.
Yeah.
They have like the coolest names. Everyone's in there. Like if you Boston-
Inside where like the scorekeeper
Yeah.
is,
Like
gotta
back
go
where Manny
in.
used to go take peas between innings or during the innings.
I don't think he's going to take P. He's probably going to take him.
I was talking to the guy who's in there doing the scoreboard. It's like this, exactly who you'd think he was. He was in contract negotiation with Fenway. He was like, if it doesn't go my way, I'll be on the show. I'll blow him up. I'll tell you everything. So I must have went his way.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
a
bro.
beautiful park. There's all those little. There's like the scorekeeper. There's all these little. I've gotten to see the like underbelly of the park, and
So sick.
Let's jump into the Yankees.
Wait, we got to do Boston real quick.
All right,
Red
hit the
Sox.
Boston.
Should we run
Hit
through
them
these
quick.
Sox
Yeah,
real
just-
quick?
Run through the
2004
Sox,
Red
Jack.
Sox.
98 and 64 came in second in the AL East that year. They were the wild card team.
Well, Terry.
Coming off, we got to set the stage here a little bit. Coming off a Game 7 loss the year before in the ALCS, we remember that the freaking Aaron Boone game that was not fun. So Grady Little gets axed after that season. This is the first year with Tito as manager. Terry Francona pick up Schilling, Pokey Reese, Keith Folk in the offseason. Pretty big acquisitions down the stretch. Third year, the Theo Epstein era, boy genius. Second year with the Monster seats. We're talking Monster.
Oh,
It
is
came
that
in
right?
03.
I remember
Yeah.
when they put those in there. I was watching Sports Center. I was a California kid. We didn't get any of the Red Sox Yankees shit.
yeah.
We were full SF
Yeah.
Dodgers. That was like our
You hated the Dodgers.
still do.
Yeah. There's always like these crazy fights from the
There's a-
Giants and Dodgers. Dodger
I
Stadium.
was just gonna
Yeah.
say there's a shanking every year. Every year with
Yeah.
the rivalry.
Yeah.
And then we
why I haven't
can't talk
gone.
about 04 without talking about Nomar getting traded in August. Crazy, man.
Which could have been because of this game.
It could have been. It could have been.
Because
7
this,
days out.
I mean, we thought you picked this game because of the fight with Varitek and Arod.
Yeah, yeah.
Bench is clear.
Yeah, great.
One guy didn't go. One guy didn't clear the bench.
Yeah.
No more.
He was an interesting dude. I mean, how would he have done in the era of the faster game? Would they have policed his like 20-minute fucking routine before he comes to the plate? Because then the pitcher is going to run out of time. Like, how does the clock work?
Nomar in the pitch clock era would be a menace.
He
bro.
get a pitch clock TUE. Like it's an exemption because of fucking OCD, man. If they ain't gonna let me do my thing,
walk up to the plate and hand the ump a doctor's note. Yo. And of course, this is the year, the idiots, the scruffy guys, the beards, the long hair, Johnny Damon, those guys really rallying the troops, baby. Tough team not to root for.
Yeah.
what about these New York Yankees, Jackie?
The evil empire, baby. We're going full homer this episode. 101-61 won the AL East again. 7th straight year winning that thing. Coming off a World Series loss the season prior, lost to 6 to the Marlins, those Dontrell Willis teams, Jack McKeon. Those are some good Marlins teams. And this was the first Arod year. We mentioned earlier the Red Sox lost out on the Arod sweepstakes after he was leaving the Rangers, and he lands in New York. This is a big star power Yankees team. I mean, you got the Giambis, the Jeters, the Flash Gordons, the Kenny Loftons, Matsui. I mean, this was Bernie Williams,
Gary Sheffield.
Gary Sheffield. This was
That was a squad.
this was a squad.
Squad.
This was a squad.
Gary Sheffield, Mariano.
Mariano,
Rivera.
poof.
Come on now, we can't forget the GOAT.
I know, Mr. Blown.
He's got some crazy stats.
El
know.
Duque.
The
El
same man.
Duque he was pitching game 4.
I believe so. Yes, let me double check that one.
Great windup.
Yes, man, Casey, great memory.
Even though I was on the Bay, I was on the West Coast for this. This is high school, heat of my Bay Area time. No matter where you were in the country, you hated the Yankees. I hated the Yankees. I didn't know anything about the Yankees other than Babe Ruth and fucking Willie Jackson or whatever and all those guys, but I hated the Yankees just because everyone talks so highly of them. Always on SportsCenter, because that's how we digested our sports back then. You know,
Right.
you didn't watch the game because we didn't
Yeah.
have tickets, we didn't have fucking satellite TV. You know, you see it on SportsCenter. I was like, they got all the pub. I fucking hated the Yankees.
Yeah, because you're a good man. That's why.
I don't know
'Cause you're
that.
a good dude. You have a good heart. You know the difference between an evil baseball team and everyone else.
And a gritty.
They just have too much money. You want to. It's not the spirit of baseball to just buy players. You know, to buy the best all the time.
But didn't the Red Sox do that eventually?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Nah, that was not us, bro. Not
No,
us.
we didn't. We embraced the money ball. We started getting guys that were like not that. You know what I mean? Not these big stars. We started putting it together, Theo. But you had, I guess, Boston and New York, Boston and San Francisco. Like, we didn't know anything about San Francisco, what was going on out there, really. But that was also a similarly great town for sports. And
Growing up, it was awesome. I mean, we had the 49ers,
Yeah.
Joe Montana, Steve Young, Jerry Rice, big football area. Giants, I mean, we all loved Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds, Jeff Kent, Benito Santiago throwing from the knees, John Beck, or remember John Beck with the fucking Jerry curl mullet? He'd come out, he was our closer. We loved the Giants. We got close a few times. The fucking rally monkey from LA got us with that stupid, remember that, the rally monkey?
what was that?
Los Angeles Angels. They had the rally monkey.
Anaheim.
We were up like 3-1 in the series, and they bust out this fucking rally monkey thing.
Is that a mascot? What is that?
I don't know what the fuck it is.
Real
but
live like monkey that they
it was like a
show on
monkey that they
camera.
brought in this one point of the game, and they kept it throughout the whole series. They came back and won it.
I learned a lot about, you know who Earl Smith is?
Earl Smith.
He worked for the Golden State Warriors and also for the Niners
Yeah.
as their pastor, I guess, as their
Yeah.
team, you pray with them and
Yeah.
stuff. And when I I had this baseball team I played on, and we started to go up and play at San Quentin against the prisoners, just because they had a baseball team.
Yeah.
And so I learned about this guy who had started their baseball program, and he was he worked at the prison. Mostly they were trying to get guys to come to church and stuff. But then he started a baseball program, and he realized that like he couldn't get the prisoners to come to church and pray, but he could get them. It was a time when San Quentin had like all these gang wars going on and stuff, and he was like, I could get them to play basketball and baseball together from different gangs, different races. I couldn't ever get them to come to church, so he started this program, and then it kind of blew up. And then we heard about it, and so I took my baseball team up there, and we started playing them every year. We'd go up and play against them, and so I got to know Earl. Amazing dude, incredible life story. He'd been shot 6 times in the head and neck, survived. He'd gone on to like seminary school, and he started out as like a gangbanger, and then he ended up doing this. And now so one time he invited us up to watch the last game between the Raiders and the Niners, I guess.
Gang fight. A lot of gang fights on those ones.
A lot of gang fights, dude.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, what is going on? So we're down on the sideline with him and my kids, which was like a really special moment because we're up close.
What stadium?
We were in the stadium that I guess was since closed in Oakland.
Candles in Oakland?
Coliseum, which is now done, right?
Is she gone?
Yeah. So we were there, and so it was a really big deal because there was the rivalry, and it was the last time they were going to play against each other because then they left. So there was like 16 brawls.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and the game's just going on, and I'm looking up like there's 30 people fist fighting up there in the stands. And no one's paying any attention.
No, yeah, that sounds about right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, LA Dodgers, when the Dodgers play the Giants, that's usually 4 or 5 stabbings. When the Raiders play the Niners, over-under is usually 8 fights. I mean, it's fucking nuts. My mom, being a ballsy lady that she is, when we went and played in the Coliseum like my second year, my mom wore my fucking jersey in there. And like, if you're at an Oakland Coliseum Raiders game, you're either a Hell's Angel, a Blood or a Crip, a Norteño Sereno, or like some fucking weird dude that's a lawyer that dresses up in spikes and shit. So everyone is legitimately just fucking crazy, and they haze everyone who comes into the stadium. My mom rolls up in my jersey. She's like, shut up. My son's from the Bay Area, and you ain't gonna say shit to me. Like, I'm like, oh my God.
Let's go in.
My mom is fucking crazy.
How many people did she stab?
No.
She's got it in her.
Yo, I wouldn't mess with Ange, bro.
She got that dog in her.
That's right.
All right. She got that dog in her. All right. Let's game lead up, Jackie.
All right, let's set the stage for this bad boy. Middle of the season, right after the All-Star break, the Sox come in 52-44. The Yanks come in 61-34. We're 9.5 back in the AL East. And the Sox, we're slumping a little bit. Lost 3 of the last 4. The Yankees, on the other hand, won 4 in a row. It's a Saturday afternoon game. Nice and quiet, just you're at the home, napping on the couch, watching a little game of the week on Fox. And this is a brawl game, though. All hell breaks loose.
Calm before the storm.
Calm before the storm. And we got to preface this with the fight the year before in the game 3 of the 2003 ALCS, Pedro versus Don Zimmer. So there's already been bad.
Just say this about that. Pedro, that wasn't fair how people talked about that.
It was not.
Because Don Zimmer charged at him.
Yeah, what are you supposed to
And
do?
he was standing there just defending himself, and he just used the man's weight again, you know what I mean? And he ended up falling down because he's an old guy and he was worked up, and it didn't make me happy to see it.
I know.
But it wasn't fair to say that Pedro threw this man to the ground.
Absolutely not.
Hey, man, no matter what age you are, you come charging and get your ass ready.
Yeah, bro. I
Get
mean,
your
like,
ass ready, that
yeah.
old ass.
I mean, you want to mess with the
What are you
booty, get the
supposed to
horns, baby.
do?
Yes.
What was he so angry about?
I don't remember exactly what started that fight, whereas this one was like so clearly the plunking of Arod. And
He
the
mushed
crushing,
him.
but-
He could have punched this old guy.
Yeah, he laid him down easy, baby. That Pedro gets a bad rap for that one. I'm with you. But that's definitely a memorable moment that was still brewing from earlier in the year. And like, this was really a heat of Yankees, Red Sox hatred and rivalry.
I've got a question for you. So, when was the darkest moment of being a Boston fan? Is it before the 2000 Patriots? Is it 03 with the Red Sox before they break through? Like, when's really the darkest before the dawn?
It's definitely before the Pats start winning. That was when light broke through the clouds there, and then the Sox came up. But so maybe it's just the 90s. Is everyone? I can't remember what's happening with the Bruins, but I think everybody was just losing. And there's a few years there where, to make matters worse, we had like hope. There was hope. There was Sox looked like they might. I can't remember when Morgan Magic was. That was like in late 90s. Remember we won 30 games. They replaced the. We got a new manager, and we won the first like 30 games in a row. It was like a miracle. Everyone thought this is it. We're making a run for it now, and then we just started losing again. And I think people thought it's never gonna happen. We're cursed. That was maybe the darkest moment. And the Pats, what was going on in the late 90s?
Well, they went to the
Mid-90s.
Super Bowl with Bledsoe in 95, 4, got
Mhm.
smoked.
Yeah.
And then they went against 85 Bears. They were leading at that game, 3-0, but then got smoked.
In 85.
85.
Yeah, I was 10 years old. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
Mid to late 90s.
You have to make jumps like by the decade to find little good moments of. Yeah.
So it was rough. It's pretty much how New York is right now.
Yeah.
It's been a decade since they've had a championship in any sport of the big four there.
Wah.
It could be decade plus. Could be decade plus, which I think is honestly bad for sport. They need, like,
It is.
it's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, they gotta start getting this thing up a little more. Let's
They have all the money. What's the problem?
Yeah, it's weird.
distractions.
I'm with you though. It is good for sports when a New York team is like in the mix a little bit. I don't know.
Because
why.
everyone likes rooting for not rooting, but you have to have a bad guy. What do they call it? The protagonist in the movie?
Antagonist.
Antagonist? You know, you need that. So, year before in 03, they lose in the ALCS to these guys, these Yankees. That had to be must-watch TV anytime they played the next year then. Was it for like you? Is it you circled the calendar whenever you're playing the Yankees? Or was it like a special? Was there something special when like you watch that or you see it with a friend, a buddy, a certain superstition that you'd have? Is any of that when you were watching with the Yankees, or is it just a little more intensity?
It's just a bigger charge. Yeah, you just want to see that game. It matters more. It's more important than. And you're tracking. Usually, the Yankees. You were hearing a lot about them, as you say. You're watching SportsCenter. You're hearing a lot about them, so you know who that team is. You know the players. It's fun to watch.
This game was going back and forth, and it was kind of a shitty game until the third inning where the fight was, right?
This was a track meet of a game, like Derek Jeter said after the game. Whoever was at bat last was winning this thing. A la, some of these Chiefs-Bills shootout we see in modern football. It's weird to think that in baseball, but like this game really was that way. A little slow starting. The Yankees get up 3-0. Then we get the fireworks in the third. Arod gets plunked with, it's like a slow curveball right in the padded elbow pad. And he comes out, he's chirping at Varitek, He gives him 3 FUs. And then the fourth, the FU motherfucker, that's when he gets the mitt in the face.
From Varitek.
And then all hell breaks
Varitek's a big dude.
Big
Big
dude.
guy.
I underrated rivalries are between catchers. And Arod's not a catcher, but there's something when the catcher's worked up because he's big. They're big.
Always.
They're armored. You know what I mean? They look like warriors. Like the Thurman Munson was the guy the Yankees way back in the day. He was the same way, tragic end to his story, but like that, those were great fights.
Yes.
It's like a goalie fight in hockey.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a little bit extra.
And smartly, Varitek, he doesn't take off the mask. He doesn't shed anything. He just goes mitt right to the face, baby.
Smart man.
And then he goes for the lift up.
Yeah, I saw that. He was going for the leg, like he was going to dip him.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, he went for
I think that, the fights nowadays, you see guys giving 1-2s, which...
it's not as fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's too far. I think it's a little bit
much.
too far.
And you could break a hand. You're on the DL, even though there's no incentive to play in baseball because contracts are guaranteed. But
you don't want to break a dude's jaw or break their nose. That's like you want to see a wrestling match. You want to see like an old school bench clearing. Like guys, there used to be brawls in baseball, and people wouldn't really get that hurt.
We see the Varitek Arod is what it starts with. Then it kind of splinters off, and you get a Tanyan Sturts.
Kenny
Gabe
Lofton got
Kapler.
tossed.
Kenny Lofton's in the mix.
He got tossed.
And then you get Big Poppy, Trot Nixon, and Gabe doing a 3-on-1 on Sturts, who was starting that day. He was a starting pitcher getting in there throwing punches, doing cheap shots on Gabe Kapler. So that's one of those moments this team's getting galvanized when you got 3 dudes going at one.
Also,
Gabe Kapler getting it.
these dudes are at the top of their game,
Yes.
and they're on a winning team.
Yes.
Sort of. They don't want to break their hand, so they're really worked up if they're doing something like that because they're pro athletes. They don't
for
want to
sure.
get hurt out there. They want to play ball.
You can't do that. You can't 3-on-1 the pitcher though.
I do like
That's
that
kinda
kind
like
of
if a-
rescue though.
That's kind of like if a quarterback throws an interception, you see a fucking defensive lineman try to go back and block the quarterback.
Cheap
Like,
shot.
that's tacky.
Right,
That's
right,
ticky
right.
tack. You can't do that. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's funny. Some of these guys, you hate them for so long because they're on the other team. They're probably nice guys.
I know.
I don't know Posada. He's probably a lovely dude. But when I see his face, I just think like, hey man, I hate you. But it's not fair. You know what I mean? He's a total stranger to me.
You know that probably everyone, like a lot of people think like that way of Tom.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? And it's crazy because whenever someone who hates him meets him, they end up like, yeah, you can't hate the guy.
Yeah, right.
He's really just a fucking good dude.
Did people hate you?
Oh, they hated us, bro.
Did they hate you?
Yeah,
They did.
It's very easily hateable.
yeah.
Nah, you're not easily hateable, dude.
Well, I would go
You gotta get
like
to know him.
People, even when they're on the other team, you always like the guys having fun.
no, they respected me. They respected me, but I would like I loved taking on that villain role of when like we would go and one of my things was when the team would go out, we were introduced. I'd let Tom go for the first 15 yards because he leads us out, and then I would start a sprint, and I would sprint all the way to the other end, and I'd fucking like give a fist pump jump to like the other crowd. They'd be booing and stuff, and I like fed off that. I loved that. I want you know what I mean? And it was like,
But the players on the field,
nah, they all respected, and no one. By the time I got older, the league has kind of changed. Like you didn't want to talk shit with me because then it would piss me off, and then I was gonna fuck you up every play, and it didn't matter if it was a run play or a pass play. Something's gonna happen. Don't bark up this tree. You know what I mean? It was like that. So, and they knew that. That'd probably be in the scouting report. Like, don't piss them off because
right?
I don't know.
He uses it.
He uses it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you weren't talking that much shit to people, like you weren't
Depends.
crossing lines.
If they never cross lines, it'd be like stupid shit. Like, dude, you're like I remember this one DB from Pittsburgh. He had this fucking Jerry curl thing going on, and I was like, bro, you ain't good. You ain't good looking enough to have that hair. You got to cut that shit like immediately. Like after roasting him on something, like I would say shit like that. Like, bro, you have no swag. Or a guy would come up to me. I remember one time.
No swag.
This guy comes up to me from I think it was like Jacksonville or something. And we had like 2 Super Bowls at the time. I go, bro, I've forgotten more important football games than you played in, dude. Like, can you just get the fuck out of my face? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, check the resume, get out of here.
Right.
It was
And people didn't sometimes take it personally. And be like, were you ever in a fight on the field?
Me and Benny Sapp almost got in a fight. He was a safety for the Dolphins. I used to fight and practice a little bit.
With your own squad?
Yeah.
What's that about?
It's because practice was competitive. I remember when we first signed Gilmore. He came over from Buffalo Bills. And I was like, it was kind of like a welcome to the team moment. Like, we practice hard here.
Mm-hmm.
Still kind of pissed off that you're making 14 when I route you up every single time we've gone against each other. And like, it just gets, practices are like mini games in the NFL because we don't have 162 games. So those practices become really competitive, and especially in New England, like they put such an emphasis on execution and competition because when you do it hard in practice, the game, you feel that situation. It's like muscle memory. It's like deja vu.
With the practices I've seen, you guys aren't even fully padded up and stuff.
There was padded practices and then there's shell days. So you'd like when I was first in the league, you could have as many padded practices as you want, which we'd have like 2 a week usually. Usually Friday would be a fast Friday where you're in shells because you just want to have a nice fast day, no balls in the ground. And then as I got older and through a second bargain agreement, we were only allowed 15 padded practices a year. So
that was to just protect guys.
yeah, But that's also why a lot of the offensive line, defensive line plays, like offensive line play for sure has gone to shit because of that, because they need to feel the pads so they can have that rep.
Oh, really?
It's like dancing together. You know what I mean?
But having the pads means more contact, means more brain injuries, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but they just implicated these like new condom things that they put on your helmet for practice that are supposed to distribute the energy. There's a bunch of stuff. Technology is getting like really good right now. Well,
That's good because guys are getting so big and fast that someone's going to get very badly hurt.
Definitely. And a lot of these rule changes we all bitch and complain about, like they're doing the hip drop tackle where guys from behind can't just drop their weight on the back of the guy's leg anymore.
Wait, how does that work?
So if a guy's getting tackled or running and a guy comes from behind and he grabs you, he can't just drop his weight on the back of your legs anymore. That's a 15-yard fine.
Ooh.
Or like if you swing a guy, or like the horse collar, you can't grab a guy from the behind, or a face mask.
But the horse collar's been in place for a long time.
Probably about 15 years now. Yeah. But the hip drop's new this year. That's going to be a huge one. And you try to get the behavior out through fines and penalty, and then goes through the farming systems of the younger kids. And
the only ones I see that I feel like aren't being managed right is the roughing the passer.
There's a huge emphasis on that, which they put a rule in now that it is reviewable.
Yeah, because sometimes the guy's coming in, he can't change his momentum.
No, but the penalty is reviewable now. So they can go and take a look at it after the play, the flag is done. That was added this year.
Because there are too many calls, right?
There's a lot of calls.
Yeah.
There's a lot of calls. But we don't want to see our stars get hurt.
Right.
Yeah. So, Jack,
should we wrap this game
up?
Wrap it up. The fight winds down. We get 4 guys tossed. Kenny Lofton, Gabe Kapler. Hold on, here we got
Varitek,
Varitek, Arod, Kenny Lofton. Tito gets tossed in the 5th for arguing a call. Then in the 6th, all hell breaks loose. The floodgates open. We get 22 total batters, 10 total runs, 10 total hits, 7 pitchers used, 89 total pitches. The inning lasts over an hour. No pitch clock era here, baby. So then we get it down. We're down 9-4. Bottom of the 6th, we cut it. We're down 9-8. Flash forward to the 9th inning. We are down 10-8. Going into the bottom of the 9th. We need something here. That's when we get Billy Miller, 3-1 count, 1 man on, blast the walk-off, 2-run homer into the bullpen in right field. Liner wins the game. Sox win 11-10, and we're rolling, baby. Galvanize the team. We're moving on.
Boston believes.
What's the aftermath, Josh? Or
Josh,
bro.
Red Sox win the World Series.
Red Sox win the World Series.
Break the curse.
Some suspensions, some fines.
4 games,
break the curse. Go 21-7 in August, and we're rolling. Nomar gets traded to the Cubbies. We talked about that.
3 years
week
later,
after.
we win it again.
Win it again, baby.
And then 5 years later, we win it again.
Again.
So you love the baseball.
Yeah, I love it. I love the football. I love watching football now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many baseball games. I feel like they've extended the season. How many times in the last? I don't know. It's too many. It's a bit too many games. It's
Play-in game and the more. Yeah.
So the football season has taken on, like, also when you have kids, Sundays are just sacred. You know what I mean? We get together, we watch all the games. And my son was just saying, he's like, I can't wait for the season to start. That's a special feeling. Whereas the baseball season goes on so long that it's not quite as special.
The kids, Pats fans.
Yeah.
You never know.
Browns. Sometimes they pick teams. You're like, all right, you know what I mean? They get super into the Browns, and you're like, let's
fantasy.
go.
Could be fantasy. They drafted someone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different generation.
Yeah.
And you get fans from everywhere now.
The Browns had such a good squad. They were fun to root for because they could have done it. If they, Mayfield's good dude, he's a good QB. That just was not the right year. Otherwise, they were in place, man. They had the defense.
Love Baker.
Oh, man.
I spent a lot of time in Northeast Ohio, and those people are it's very similar to the Boston baseball curse drought where they are with football. I mean, they're fiending for that when they love their sports, they love their football up in Northeast Ohio. I hope that the Browns can get something going here soon because it'd be great for the league. That's a very old organization that's been around a long time, but also like that's like a huge part of football is Ohio.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of these country fed, huge old white linemen, great ass, like LeBron's from there. You get a lot of these unbelievable DBs. I mean, it's
It's like these like American hard scrabble town. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like when you watch like Green Bay
yeah.
and Cleveland, they're like, it's cold as hell when they're playing, man. It's like, yeah, that's fun football.
And they don't have like Boston and New York. You guys, they have other sports. Green Bay, they're only football. Cleveland, you got basketball, and baseball, but they love football.
Hold on. Well, Jules has beef with someone else who's very relevant to this conversation.
I do have a little beef with your brother too.
Casey.
Why?
I was sitting there getting my ankle taped or something, watching Sports Center or some fucking show on ESPN, and see your brother come on. We just won a Super Bowl, and he's talking about, we don't have any receivers. We don't have this. I'm sitting here like, what the fuck?
When was this? You guys just won the Super Bowl and he said you didn't have
Something
receivers?
maybe a year
20,
removed
was
or
this 19
something.
maybe?
2019
Maybe
season.
19.
Yeah. It's a one-way beef.
It's a one-way beef. It's a one-way beef. I just,
Bro, you seem like a great dude. Let me tell you something. Don't hold a grudge.
I'm not just- it's more of like a joke.
I'll give him that.
Let's name this game. We have a couple things, or you have a name. If you have a name for it, Casey, we had the Varitek versus Arod game, the Shut Up Arod game, the Arod fight game. Which one would you like to choose to name this game?
I'm gonna throw Varitek in there. He deserves to be in there. Varitek versus Arod.
See, that's a good answer. Is this the greatest game of all time? Let's score it. Casey, on stakes, regular season, mid-season game. What are the stakes of this game? 0 to 10 decimals. Okay, we got to grade it. Right.
I think the stakes are like a 7. It wasn't. I don't think people understood just how that it was going to be a pivotal game and a turning point for the energy of the team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So what? This is midway through the season.
But it's Yankees Red Sox, so the stakes are
Always
automatically a little
lost.
Yeah.
So
I like that score.
I go 6-5.
Okay.
Jack did 6-3. I did 4-9.
Oh, nice.
Star power. You got a lot of stars in this game.
Big time.
A lot of Hall of
Star-studded.
Famers.
An 8. That's an 8.
Yep.
That's a good score. I'll go with the 8.
Jack did 9.2.
9.2, 9.1.
9.1.
We're in the same ballpark here.
Gameplay of this.
What does
We
that
have a
mean?
brawl. Gameplay means like how was the game for the viewer? How was the game as back? Was it back and forth? Was it a blowout?
Was it fun to? I was thinking about.
I'm
was it
going
fun to
8.5
watch?
because I think that people really love to see everyone caring a lot, especially in baseball. Dudes roll in. Some days they're phoning it in. Everyone had showed up at the park with
Amen.
passion.
Walk-off home run, too.
Walk off. Battling, baby.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a 7-8. No, 8. I looked at the name.
Jack did 9-1. I did 9-2.
The name of the game: Varitek versus Arod.
Cultural relevance of this game.
The cultural relevance of this game was pretty high for a baseball game, for a single baseball game. I think that
July
that's going to get a
baseball
lot of attention in the Sports Center and the sports fans. So I'm going on 8.
I mean, we're still talking about a regular season baseball game here in 2024. 20 years. This is 20 years ago, so it's got to be an 8.
What's worse than July baseball? And we're talking about it 20 years later.
Hey, we're coming up on the 20th Annie, baby.
I
Jack
know.
did 8.2. I did 7.9.
Where does it stand?
Look at this.
7.9.
7.9. Where does that go in all the games that we've done?
That puts it right below
highly
the
ranked.
Super Bowl 53, Patriots versus Rams. And
Okay.
then right above the Miracle Miami, BC versus Miami 1984. The Doug
With
Flutie
Flutie.
game. Yeah.
Now
good
seeing
position.
all the other games, I feel like we gave it a slightly inflated score.
A little high, but it's okay.
It's okay. Casey, we miss anything from this
Covered
game?
it. We covered it.
We covered it. Everyone, remember to go see the movie Instigators. It'll be available on Apple TV August 9th. Awesome movie, fun movie, Boston movie. Even if you don't like Boston, it's a fire movie. Great cast, a lot of awesome people in it. It was fun.
Great
Movie of the summer.
Thank you, boys. Thank you,
It's
everyone.
great. It's
Thank
fun.
you.
I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, dude. What a fucking treat.
Man, he's a smart dude.
Love Casey.
He's the
He's
best.
got
Really
good-
smart guy.
He's got like what is it? He'd be able to finish what I was thinking. Like he did a couple times in the episode. Like he knows how to. I'm not like smart enough to say like he's got like regular people thoughts and able to compute them in a different way.
He's an artist.
He's an artist.
He's an artist.
But he's also not like too arty about it.
But he's a guy who played baseball from Boston too.
Exactly. I mean, I like just talking to him. We didn't even get to like half the questions I wanted.
I know
get.
so much stuff.
You know what I mean? But things ran out of time.
No, he's great. Fucking Oscar winner.
Fucking, and I went and been watching some of his movies. He's just he gets into some of these crazy roles, man. He plays them, and you really believe the fucking character. And and that he's unbelievable.
Great
Shout out
actor.
to Lee, acting coach. Hopefully she'll see this somehow.
And
I don't know
Instigators.
if she's into that world.
Instigators is great. It's
So
awesome
good.
movie. We got the screeners, whatever.
Yeah.
It was awesome to watch. We watched it as a whole team here in the Nut House. It was a fun experience. We should do some more of those, Nut House screenings and then like review. And
like
then
that.
give
Turn
them
this
like
into
how
the
many
actor
nuts
studio.
we give them.
Yeah.
3 nuts.
I give that one a 5 nutter.
That was a 5 nut.
That was 5 nut all day.
5
baby.
out of
2
5
thumbs
nuts.
up.
5 out of 5 nuts.
I hope he tells Matt Damon that you called him Dudley Do Right.
Yeah, he should.
He should.
We'll see.
I feel like I snaked out too on when he said you can't hold a grudge on my brother. Maybe a fucking Affleck Ben, he comes up in here and he apologizes. Maybe there won't be no grudge. Maybe
Say it to my face, brother.
wait, is that Macho?
Oh,
Man?
sorry.
Macho Man Rangy Savage.
Sorry,
there,
I went
huh?
full like, ugh.
Yeah, where'd that come from?
When the grudge talk comes out, I just get all fired
I
up.
know we're not grudge holders.
Nah, we can't be. Even though, yeah.
I've got a couple.
If we were to talk it out, we wouldn't be a grudge. There's no grudge. There's just a little like he knows what I mean. But
Yeah.
Being a Boston guy, he knows you see me and we talk it out. Maybe we
We
go.
got some stuff to talk about.
I'm remiss that we didn't get to talk about Casey Affleck's Dunkin' Donuts SNL skit.
I know,
'Cause
100%.
That's the best representation of a Massachusetts person. Like,
Cigarette
ever.
outside the store while he's drinking his coffee inside the store because it's too fucking cold and he wants to smoke.
Yeah.
I need to hear
And
his
he's got
Dunks order
he's got
too.
the crack screen. Yeah, we want to get the Dunks order. Yeah, no, he's great. That was awesome.
So
episode.
much so, and he's been in, dude. His career's been he's got a long career. He's been around 20 years, damn near.
Been in a lot of good stuff.
Longer.
And he's worked with.
Longer.
I mean, he's got an Oscar and he's worked with some of the most incredible actors of our generation. I mean, all the big names.
I felt bad about asking him had he watched Good Will Hunting. That he feels a little bit just because like being from Boston, that's such like a culturally relevant movie from Boston that if you like, even if you were in it, whatever, like being from that time and that era to not see that
You
movie.
could tell he's a competitor though,
Yeah.
and like he probably sees that when he watches his film, and it's a competitiveness with himself.
Yeah.
That like, man, I would, because he said I think I could have done it better.
Yeah. I understand that. I hate
that
every
point of
episode of
always
Games
never-
with Names.
But he seemed really happy. He seemed
really
great
did.
spirit.
Really
He looked
good.
great.
No, he was awesome.
God, I wanted to ask him what it was like to meet Bernie Mac on the set of Oceans. Damn.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Bernie, we love you.
All right, let's see this post guest segment.
Should I run us through? You got this, Jules?
Yeah.
After bashing New York and fully going Homer on this episode, we're gonna end this with a sweet note.
Ish.
Ish. With that being said, we're going to put together a top 5 list of least hated NY athletes.
We'll do. We've been bashing
Top
all
5
episode
of athletes that played in New York
that we got love for. That we don't have
love.
full
Yeah,
hate
we like.
for.
We like.
Just a nice top 5 in no particular order.
I think Jeter's got to be on there.
Jeter,
Mario
Mariano
Rivera. He's just lovable. Who else?
I agree. I think we got to put Jalen Brunson in there.
Brunson.
I think we got to put Brunson in
Shout
there.
out Sam Morrell.
Shout out Sam Morrell. We love him.
He's been loving him for years.
Oh man, he's an early Jalen.
What about? I mean, does Babe Ruth count?
Babe counts. I'm
Ruth?
counting Babe. Yogi Berra, Babe. Let's
Eli,
put Babe.
What about Eli Manning?
Can't do it.
I don't know, man. I just had a Foxer treat, and I always say that Eli's my favorite Manning. I fucking fully take that up. That's back. I hung out with Cooper Manning, and he's the coolest Manning by far. Shout out Coop Manning. You know, I used to be an Eli guy. I guess I just didn't hang out with Coop enough. Coop is the fucking man. We golf together. So yeah, no Eli Manning.
Okay.
Sorry, Eli.
Okay.
we gotta-
Strahan,
Strahan's up
another
there.
Fox guy.
Strahan's up
Strahan is
there.
a fucking lovable New York. Strahan got to
It's
be
hard
on
to
there.
hate Strahan.
You Dude, he's on Good Morning America.
We still got Broadway Joe left though.
Broadway
We
Joe.
only got one slot left.
Well, I think we got to revisit some of these just because they're the first
Babe Ruth
four.
got to go.
Babe Ruth's got to go.
Because we don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, but he could crush glizzies like no one else.
Yeah,
They said he could put down like 9 hot dogs in like 30 seconds, dude.
I do like that. I
Babe
do
Ruth
like
out.
that.
Babe Ruth out.
Made
Babe
that
Ruth.
number.
What about
a lot?
What about Rangers? What about
Henrik Lundqvist?
Lundqvist? Henrik Lundqvist? Does Wayne Gretzky count?
Wait a minute. Does Lundqvist go? Does Brunson get taken off because he's still too young? He's only done it for 1 year.
He's done for a couple. But
I mean,
one big
Blomqvist.
one.
I mean, everyone liked that guy, and he's just so damn good looking. And
handsome
like
devil.
he always fucking dressed cool.
He's a
and
great fucking goalie.
He's a great goalie.
Oh my!
Do we put Lundqvist in there?
As a Penguins fan, my favorite thing ever was when they chased him and he like freaked out and like smashed the net. Oh, I love that.
I think we gotta go.
Mad respect for him.
Are we putting Lundqvist in?
Yeah,
Just keep the list going right
Okay.
there. I think we're getting close.
because you can throw. So does Wayne Gretzky count?
No,
Right?
Nah, wasn't there
Because I
long
wouldn't
enough.
really. He's a Ranger, yeah, but he's not a Ranger.
He's not known as a Ranger.
I agree.
I don't associate immediately.
I agree.
What do we think about like a? Do we go with like a Derek Mason or a Patrick Ewing or a John Starks?
Strahan.
Strahan.
I think Strahan's up there, dude.
He's gotta
really-
make it.
He's very likable,
like,
or at least hated.
He's very least hateable.
dude. Strahan's up there. Put him in.
Are we
He's
getting
in.
enough other sport like? Be nice to get some representation from the other teams.
What? Like what? We got a hockey. We got a Yankee.
We got a hockey, yeah.
We got a Giant.
Any Mets? Mike Piazza.
Hey.
I don't hate him at all.
He did hit the homer on 9/11,
He did. That was
or the
lit.
day after 9/11 against New York. But Mike Piazza, is he on the top? No one really thinks of the Mets as a New York team. It's got to be
think-
from like the big dogs.
We're gonna catch some heat
Hey,
for
no,
that.
no second fiddle guys.
I'm just saying.
It's like the Jets. Do we even really think about them? Nah.
But this Broadway Joe.
It was Broadway
Sir
Joe.
Curtis,
Broadway
yes.
Joe.
do we hate Curtis Martin?
No. What about
Curtis,
Wayne
my
Corbett?
favorite.
Wayne Corbett?
Wayne
Wayne
Corbett's gotta
Corbett
be
was
in here.
loved.
And the slot father.
The slot father?
Slot father.
Vinny Testaverde?
He didn't play long enough.
Yeah.
1 year.
He belongs to the league.
He's kind of like his merch hat is kind of like Rob Lowe's NFL hat. It's just all of the NFL.
Just a fan of the league. Just want to see a good game.
I asked him about. Remember, I did his podcast.
Yeah.
I asked him about it.
I heard he got that custom made.
No,
for
I think he
himself.
just he saw a hat and he took it, or I think he needed a hat, so he picked up an NFL red hat,
my God.
fucking official hat.
I feel like we're
Hold on.
we got to whittle down here.
There's someone I got to throw in here too.
Who's
Yogi
the man?
Berra.
Yogi.
Yogi.
How do you hate Yogi Berra?
Tough dude.
When you
He
come
gave
to a
us lot
fork
of-
in the road,
take it.
you know what you do? You take it.
Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. He's given us some great Yogiisms.
I mean, he got
And he
a
was a heck of a
cartoon after
character.
him. Was that? I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Yogi Bear, the TV cartoon.
It'd be a hell of a coincidence if it wasn't.
Is it not, or is
No.
it? Is it?
Let me do
Fact check it.
I mean, I don't know Yankee history like that.
Yeah, it was. The Hanna-Barbera character Yogi Bear debuted in 1958 and was named after Berra. That's
See,
pretty
look
cool.
at. I mean, it's
Can make a
fucking.
basket.
All right, we got to keep him in the top 5.
So Mike Piazza's the most lovable.
Hold on,
Come
no, this isn't.
No,
they were
this,
just.
isn't, this isn't in order.
I think Jeter.
Jeter might be
Strahan.
one. It's hard to hate Jeter.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, we watched the Red Sox fight thing, or
Yeah.
when we were doing the research for this episode.
Yeah.
And the way he handles the media afterwards, like he's
Captain.
he's a pro.
Captain.
With baskets?
I think you ask any Sox fan, they don't really hate Jeter.
Yeah. Ritu Pecked.
What's that?
It's like respect thing. You remember when he retired?
I don't know that one.
The word mark. It was
Yeah.
like RE2.
Oh, yeah. And the little kid doing this.
The little kid
Yeah, I
meme
remember
is
that.
the
That's a
cutest
great
thing
gif
ever.
now, yeah.
It was a plant.
All right. Jeter, Strahan, Lundqvist, Rivera.
Broadway Joe,
Broadway Joe or
Wayne Corbett.
Wayne Corbett.
Broadway
I think
Joe
you
is
go
bigger
Broadway
than
Joe.
Wayne
Yeah.
Corbett.
And I also
He
think
won the first Super Bowl he for the
yeah,
AFC, bro.
guarantee.
Against the Colts.
Super Bowl 3.
Yeah, AFL. I think we might have to pull out Mariano Rivera.
Okay.
And I think you put Yogi Berra. Yankee for a Yankee. I could see why
I see
people
that.
would hate Mariano
could see
Rivera. That cutter.
Yeah.
don't
I
know.
like him when he blew all those saves in Fenway, baby. Yeah.
I think that's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty
That's a
fucking
good fucking list.
That's a great
good
list.
I think Henrik Lundqvist might be too high, but
Who?
Henrik Lundqvist.
Yeah, I think he needs to go to 5.
I think he goes
Okay.
to 5, and I think you move the other 2 up.
I like this.
Yeah. So number 1, Derek Jeter. Number 2, Michael Strahan. Number 3, Yogi Berra. Number 4, Joe Namath. Number 5,
Do we take
Henrik
Lundqvist over? We got to get a hockey guy.
So you could do Mark Messier, but he doesn't really own Rangers, and he's not really liked. You could go Jaromir Jagr was a Ranger.
Yager.
Pavel Bure.
I think my hate is
We'll go Lundqvist.
my
Lundqvist
hate's
is a
rather
good
low
one.
right now, so I think this list is all right.
I don't hate this list.
I don't
hate
either.
this list
Honestly,
the
I
least.
usually hate all of our lists. Don't hate this list.
This is
I
your
like
least
it.
hated list. All right, well, there
There
you
we
go.
How come hate brings us together? It's the least hated team.
If you got hate in your heart, let it out.
Number 5, Henrik Lundqvist. Number 4, Broadway Joe Namath. Number 3, Yogi Berra. What is that? Is that his little friend?
Another picnic basket.
Number 2, Good Morning America and Fox's Michael Strahan. Everyone loves him. Everyone loves him. And number 1, another Fox guy. This is kind of skewed. Derek Jeter. That is our top 5 least hated New York athletes, because we were tough on them today with this, and they got beat in this one.
Good list.
It was a good list. Well, what a game. Thanks again to Casey, and everyone go out there and check out Instigators, The Instigators on Apple TV. That's been another episode of Games with Names. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Comment a game you want us to do.
Rate and review.
Remember to follow Games with Names on YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Snapchat. Leave a message on the hotline at 424-291-2290. Those have been awesome. We'll see you guys next week. Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.